Hi, and welcome to another Sunrider call. And today's subject is Sunrider and children. How important is that? And I started with Sunrider Herbal Nutrition 25 years ago now. And one of the first things that impressed me was how Dr. Tei-Fu Chen, the founder of Sunrider International, spoke about how he wanted a legacy for his children and his grandchildren to always be sure they had very nutritious, healthy, non-polluted nutrition. And that was fascinating to me because I'd never thought about the owners of a company using the products for their own family. And that has been the history for 40 years of Sunrider. And Tei-Fu Chen would never put shares on the market or sell part of the company. It's all family owned, family run, and he has 5 children. Those 5 children are all running the company now, along with Tei-Fu Chen and Oilin Chen, and they have 18 grandchildren. So those are, pretty amazing, and they're all darn healthy. So New Plus is the first product that I started out with. And for me, this one, just one package in the evening, the first night, I slept really well. And then in the morning, I got out of bed. I was 49 at the time. I got out of bed and my hips didn't ache for the first time in many, many years. And I've since found that there's anti-inflammatory herbal nutrition in here. So then I started feeding this to my family, to my 2 boys, and they liked a lot of the nutrition in here. And to this day, one lives in Cayman Islands, one lives in Vancouver, BC, and they always ask me to bring them or drop ship them New Plus, Fortune Delight, and some of the other products. So today we have 2 guest speakers, and there may be others, but my 2 guest speakers are Carolyn Sheets and Barb Rowe, and they've been with Sunrider longer than I have, and I've been 25 years. And they have wonderful stories to share with you. And I'll first ask Carolyn to share her story, please. And introduce yourself, Carolyn.
Hi, everybody. I found Sunrider, or it found me, in 1990. And it was in San Diego area. And so I'm in the line over there where Mary Jo is my upline. And these are stories from her because she was a Western herbalist for 18 years before she found Sunrider. And now it's been over 30 years for her. And she's had lots of children and run daycare. So she knows so much about kids. And she taught me from the very beginning. And one of the stories that was so touching is one of her own daughters, when she was 6 years old in 1st grade, started having terrible migraines, and nothing could seem to help them. They tried everything. They were already a Sunrider family, but not real long into it. And so at one point, Mary Jo had a chance to talk to Dr. Chen, and she told him the story that this is happening, and her daughter had said to her one day that the teacher didn't want her to leave school so much because she was hurting, because she didn't want to miss so much. And so the little girl had said to her mom, Mary Jo, "So I just suffer." And she said that was so heartbreaking for this 6-year-old. And Dr. Chen said, well, what we know in Chinese philosophy of health is that adolescence starts at 6 or 7 for most children, and the hormones start to shift. So she started to give her daughter 1 beauty pearl a day, and right away the headaches were gone. So that was a very important story for me to hear early on. The other story.
Oh,
spring-
can you hold up the beauty pearl?
Oh,
Is it?
yes.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite products.
These are beauty pearls, and they come in a little container like this. I usually have one in there, but I see I raided it. But yes, beauty pearls are a little tablet. And so parents with children have even sliced them up and put them in a peanut butter sandwich if the child cannot yet swallow a tablet like this. Although they are designed to be time release. So when we can swallow them whole, that's the best.
Yes, and even, well, teenagers can have them, any age group can have them. My mom would have one every night before she went to sleep. It helped her relax and sleep. And but it works on the hormones. It's also amazing for our skin. The formula really helps us with our skin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they helped me when I was 43 and found Sunrider and had cramps for almost 30 years with the first of my cycle, and they were gone from the first month I started Beauty Pearl one day too.
Wonderful.
So it's an incredible product for us to know about, and for teenage boys and girls, it will also help them rebalance so that they'll have their old personality back, sometimes even nicer than their old personality.
Exactly. And they're called beauty pearls, but men can use them too, or boys can use them too. And then we call them macho marbles, but they're the same formula. So yeah, it's a wonderful formula. Thank you, Carolyn. And you have
one old Sunrider leader said she would not speak to her husband until he had 2 beauty pearls every morning.
Ooh.
I will not name the leader.
Right.
The other one that I really want to share, a quick one from Mary Jo, is that one of her granddaughters was a year and a half old. She was taking care of her 5 days a week, and her daughter, who was there, didn't really have a coffee maker, which is how Mary Jo made her Callie. So she made Callie every morning, and the little 1.5-year-old just loved it and had it with her granny. And then when Mary Jo would be coming back on a Monday, she would go, before she could even talk well, she would go stand by the dryer where Mary Jo kept the coffee maker when she wasn't there over the weekend. And she would just stand there and say, Callie, and wait for her grandmother to make the Callie. And when that little girl was 4.5, she only saw her once a week, and they still drank Callie. And so when she was just a little older, she had terrible congestion, and she called her grandma, who was then Hawaii and California, so far away, and she said, Granny, I need Callie. And I said, well, and Mary Jo said, well, tell your mama to make you some. And she said, we don't have any. And so Mary Jo said, well, I'm going to send you some. And granddaughter says, no, take a plane.
Really, that's awesome. I love Kelly too. And the Kelly comes this sec. I think
oh yeah, I'm supposed to hold this up. Here's a Callie 60-pack, and here's a Callie packet.
Exactly. And they come in mint, cinnamon, and original. And original got me off 8 cups of black coffee a day. So that's my favorite. And that's a great story. Yes. So yeah, all ages. It's so wonderful. As you've talked about Beauty Pearl and then the Callie. That yes, just let her grandma get on the plane and bring it, right? Oh, Dottie says that Kelly got her off diet sodas. So that's a powerful testimonial. Actually, yes, I would. I'll get you to tell that story, but first I'll have Barb come in, Barb Rowe, because she's got really good family stories here, children's stories. So introduce yourself, please, Barb.
Okay, thanks, Diana. It's always good to be on this call with everybody. Yeah, I'm a mother of 5 children, and my kids were raised on Sunrider for the last 32 years. So I think I'm pretty qualified to talk about children. And I love talking about to young moms with young children, because I feel that teaching our children how to eat healthy from a very young age is so important, so important. So my story started, I found Sunrider 6 months after my 4th baby was born, and it made such an amazing difference. When I was looking for something that was not only good for myself, but also safe for my children. I knew nothing about herbs, but I just knew that I wanted something that, number one, was easy to mix up, didn't take a lot of time to prepare, because I was juicing every night, and that was a ton of work. And so having the Sunrider foods come into my life was just such a blessing, because it was easy, tasted great, my kids loved it. And I think that reason alone is, they weren't sick or anything. I didn't have any major sicknesses, but I wanted to be proactive in raising healthy children, because I wanted to have, to leave my children with that legacy of knowing the importance of health. Because to me, if you're not healthy, you can't work, you can't enjoy life, you can't help others. So health is number one priority as far as I'm concerned. And then 3 years after I started in Sunrider, I went through my 5th pregnancy. And that was an incredible experience. I had gone through 4 pregnancies without Sunrider, and that 5th pregnancy, I was 37 years old. And honestly, the difference was like night and day. And my body was so well nourished with the Sunrider foods. That baby was so healthy, and so she had nothing, good natured, no runny noses and ear infections and all these things that babies seem to be born with nowadays. She was just so healthy. And it was interesting, because when I went through my delivery, we were just talking about this morning, I was actually popping Toppanies the whole time through my delivery, and that was so amazing. But yeah, my children were raised on the Sunrider foods, and today, as adults, they still love the Sunrider foods, use the Sunrider foods, and they don't go to the health food store or try this or try that. They continue to just be totally dedicated to Sunrider. So my children's day would start with, I would make them Kelly. I would put 2 cups of Kelly in a blender, and so they would get the cleansing herbs. And then I would throw in some frozen fruit, whatever I would have. And then I would put a package of New Plus in with that. And that would be their breakfast. And they would go off to school feeling very nourished, very satisfied. If there was a morning that they did not get their shake, they would come home at lunchtime and be very, very hungry and kind of cranky and not in a very good mood. So by just giving them these, and then the fruit that was with that, they had almost 20 foods in their body, whole live foods, which was amazing. So my life with raising children on Sunrider was wonderful. It was, it just, there was no sickness. If they come home, if there was a bad flu at school and all the kids were staying home and getting sick, they'd come home, I'd maybe give them a package of Quinary or something, just throw that in for them. Next day, they'd be back at school. And so there was never downtime. They were just always healthy, strong. And for me, teaching children how to eat healthy is really, really important. And I think that's what, in our society today, when you look at children that are overweight, that have emotional problems, that have, addictions and things like that happening, and you look at their diet, and they have not come from that point of good nutrition in their body right from day one as little children, babies. And this was my baby's first food, both of these. I mean, this is what she got. She didn't get anything else. In fact, her first word was Quinary. So just being around in a home where the conversation was on good nutrition, the choices were good nutrition. I never bought any types of juices or any packaged foods, no beverages like pop and things like that, because I didn't have to. I had everything in Sunrider. I would make a pot of Cali, put it in the fridge with some stevia in it. That was their juice, and they loved it. They loved it. They never once complained. They loved it. And so, you know, being able to give my children that start in life, I think is really, really important as parents. So now I have two grandchildren, two grandsons that, again, their mother ate Sunrider through her pregnancy, healthy children. And my 11-year-old grandson, his favorite, of course, is the Sun Bars with the Fortune Delights. And again, learning to understand the importance of good nutrition. And so he just loves it when grandma comes to his house and brings along another box of Sun Bars for him because he's running low. So yeah, I mean, there's other stories I guess I could tell, but it's just having good nutrition in children's bodies is critical to healthy lifestyle and, you know, in their adult years. So
thank you so much, Barb. And I just love how simple you make it, and the fact that yeah, you're so, that's very inspirational. And I love the simplicity, because you just the Cali and the New Plus, and then sometimes the Quinery when you needed it, and it keeps it affordable for a family. And you don't have fruits and vegetables going rotten in the fridge that you don't get around to juicing, because it's all done for us by Dr. Chen. Yeah. Yeah, I used to juice a lot also, and I love the convenience of using the juice dried herbs that Dr. Chen has put together for us. So that's fabulous. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Is Dottie available to give her getting off of
Sure,
Okay.
I will. So
Thank you.
yes, I for most all of my adult life up until until Sunrider, which was 14 years ago, I drank diet drinks a lot during the day, and I knew that it wasn't good for me. I knew that we have a lot of spine issues in my family, and I knew it wasn't good for my brain, those types of things, but I never was able to get off of them because I was really addicted to them. And so my friend Donna came and she shared with me, and so from the very first day I drank Fortune and Cali, and honestly I didn't even think about a diet soda from the very first day of drinking the Cali and the Fortune Delight, and it's been that way ever since. It's just like, you know, it just took away that desire, because I already wanted to get off of them, but I was addicted, truly addicted to them. And so, and you know, I was even doing the what they call the better thing of changing to the ones that had the Splenda instead of all the other stuff, except Splenda's not any better. So yeah. So I'm just thankful to God and to my friend Donna for bringing me the Sunrider foods, and especially the beverages. So I do have one short little kid story.
That would be great. That would be
Okay.
great.
So yeah, so my granddaughter, she's almost 4 now, but when she was about 1.5 years or maybe closer to 2, she started going to, we kept her the whole first year of her life. So she got, like Barb, she got some of that good Sunrider stuff. But she started going to daycare. And so, you know, she picked up everything there, right? So she came down with the flu. And so Mimi and Papa got to keep her, right? So Mom and Dad could go to work. So Mimi and Papa were the ones that got to keep her. So I was keeping her, and she was just, you know, and she's not one just to lay around, but she was just kind of, you know, limp and wanted to be held the whole time, and she just had no energy. Well, I said, what could we do? Because we were feeding her some Cali and some Fortune Delight and everything, and she really didn't want to eat, right? But I had Smart Gummies, and we know Smart Gummies have vitamin B and vitamin D and taste good. And so she was so small, I would quarter that smart gummy and give her a little bit, and she liked it. And she'd come back for more, and I'd give her another little quarter. You know, after I'd given her about a half of a smart gummy, she perked up. She had energy. She was walking around, just playing more and everything. And then, you know, it'd be about another hour. So I think we kept her 2 or 3 days, and it'd be later, she, you know, she'd be kind of back lethargic, and I'd just give her another little quarter or another half. And it was amazing what just those smart gummies did as far as giving her energy. And, you know, of course, if you've got more energy, you've got more energy to fight off the virus. So, yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised with smart gummies.
I love that story. I didn't know they were that powerful. That's very wonderful. Yeah, smart gummies, and they taste delicious. That's fabulous. Oh, I love your story. Thanks so much for sharing that, Dottie. And I would like Carolyn to, she has another story, and I don't want to end this call without hearing that one. So please, Carolyn, give us your other story. Thank you.
Okay, this one's just a little bit more complex. I'm going to go fast, but I think you'll carry with me. Mary Jo's next door neighbor, when her kids were smaller, it was a single mom. She was really overworked, and her Mary Jo's daughter, 12 years old, was being a babysitter part of the time. And so she'd bring the littlest baby home and visit at Mama's house. And Mary Jo noticed that the baby was not developing at the usual pace. And the child got older and still never wanted to crawl, never wanted to turn over, and just was very listless, didn't have expression. And so one day Mary Jo said, I need to talk to the mom, she says to herself. I need to talk to her. And then the mother had said, well, the doctor said there's something wrong with her. Her brain isn't developing, but there's nothing they know how to do. And so she said, I've just been sort of ignoring it because I don't know what to do. And she was so busy and overwhelmed herself. So Mary Jo said, I'm going to bring you something to feed her. And Mary Jo made up a bottle with a whole Nuplus, Simply Herbs. She doesn't think they had original. She thinks it was even Simply Herbs, which usually I want to think we're going to give original to the youngest ones, but with no beans. But she had Simply Herbs. She had a whole packet of quinine. She had a whole bottle of full strength Cali. She put some Synectar in. So there's our whole sun pack there, except for the sun breeze. So there's a sun pack. Plus she put in two tablets or 2 capsules, 2 caps of top, 2 caps of ease for the brain, and twisted them open, put them in there. And she said, oh, dear God, I hope the baby will drink this. And she talked to Diane Smith, who's a midwife, and she said, it needs to look the same. So wrap it in some white cloth. And I think they used a dish towel or an old cloth diaper or something, and gave the bottle to the baby. And Mary Jo said the baby drank it like it was candy. And they kept doing this with 1 Cali in the first bottle of the day, or whichever, and 1 with Fortune Delight for the liquid, but also, so that baby was getting 2 whole Nuplus, 2 whole quinine packets, plus Synectar, plus 4 E's altogether, and 4 top altogether. And the mother said, I can't afford it. Mary Jo said, I'm going to bring it to you. And so she got those 2 bottles a day, that baby did. And within 6 months, she was rolling over. She had expression. She came back to life. And, or not back to life, she came into her life. And it was just so happy. And then time came, moved away, whatever, lose track of each other. And they didn't have the bottles of Cali and, so, I mean, you know, Sunrider anymore. But Mary Jo bumped into her sometime at the grocery store or something. She said, how is the baby? And the mother said, she is wonderful. You would never know she had a slow start. So
Wow.
that was a real lesson to me. I heard that story very young in Sunrider, that we can work miracles with these foods, especially with very young children, they're so ready to just absorb, but really it's with all children and with it's all adults. So anyway.
That is so beautiful and a miracle, like you said, a complete miracle. Oh, and so that was New Plus Cali.
Winery, a whole packet, 10 whole capsules. That baby was getting 20 capsules of 20 capsules of Winery a day. And 4 E's and 4 tops spread between 2 and 2.
Very powerful. Wonderful.
And full strength Cali. Mary Jo has never shied from giving babies at any age full strength Cali in a bottle if they are congested or constipated or whatever. Even if all they're doing is mother's milk. She'll get a Cali and give them a bottle of Cali.
I just love that. Thank you so much, Carolyn. I just love your stories, and I really appreciate you sharing with us.
Well,
yeah, this is
the products speak for themselves.
They do. They truly do. And all of us with all our shining faces and you know, some of us 30, 35 years with Sunrider. So I'm going to just surprise Jim Pendry, because I know that his three girls were raised on Sunrider. Jim, do you have a few words that you'd like to say?
Well, everybody covered everything so well, but I was thinking about what Barb was saying about just that core nutrition. And when our kids were little, well, we already had one daughter when we started with Sunrider, and we kind of have this joke amongst Sunriders. We call our children that were born before Sunrider BS babies, and the babies that were born afterwards is after Sunrider babies, because they're different. And our first daughter, our BS baby, she had ear infections and she had a few things going on, and giving her Cali. I remember when we become so sold ourselves, right? And I was asking our upline, Andrea Langer, is there something I can do for our daughter who has these ear infections? And I was learning that, of course, ear infections often are caused because the tubes are small enough, and if you get a bit of wax in there, then it can't drain properly. And so Cali helps the body naturally cleanse itself. And so she says, well, give her some Cali in her bottle. And I'm like, yeah, well, she's just a baby. And she said, well, they're only foods, right? And this is the biggest thing for people to get this concept, is that we're just eating foods that the Chinese took 5,000 years to figure out, and they're safe for everybody. So she starts drinking Cali, and all of a sudden the ear infections are going away. And I'm like, how can this be? And anyways, having the Sunrider foods for our children when they were growing up, it's a way of being in control of the outcome. You know, there's nothing really that ever shows up that you can't deal with naturally right from home with foods. And that is so comforting. And when that same daughter was in her teens, of course, you know, the glaring eyes and all that. And all of a sudden she was better. And Wanda says to me, she goes, how do you like Ashley? And I said, great. Like, that last conversation must have helped. And she said, no, I put her on Beauty Pro. And it's like the difference it can make to a teenager, to a parent, a mom or a dad. The joke we have about Beauty Pearl is it's the only product that only one person in the family has to eat it, and it affects the whole family. And that is so true.
Perfect. Perfect.
These foods just make it so easy. You know, if one of them would get sick, you just knew what to do. Get him Quinary and Cali, and you know, they had their New Plus. That was their staple every morning. They didn't leave the house unless they had a New Plus in their body. So yeah, you know, our own children, and then so many people over the years that have had, some of them had serious issues with their children, and colic, and you know, just a few drops of a product we have called Evergreen. It's a very concentrated chlorophyll, and it really settles the stomach. and just a few drops, even as a baby, in their mouth, and it'll just settle them right down. So again, it's a way that you can totally deal with almost anything. And I'm trying to put myself in the position, if I was someone new to Sunrider watching this call, that you might think, well, how do you know what to do, or is it safe? And I guess there's just a point that you'd have to trust enough. But if you have a chance to hang around some of us old Sunriders, we've got, answers for everything of how we can deal with things. So I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much. And I especially love the word comforting, because I think that's how I felt with my children, is knowing that I had answers that was food and Sunrider nutrition. And Jim, you've been my mentor for so long, 25 years. Just want to thank you. Thanks for coming on the call and
You're welcome.
sharing your wisdom and experience with us. It's just been miraculous. And Carolyn, Barb, and Dottie, you contributed so much. Thank you. I'm going to turn off the recording right now, and we can stay on for 5 or 10 minutes and chat if everybody wants to.